In 360 BCE, Plato described a powerful maritime civilization that vanished beneath the sea 9,600 years before his time. For over 2 millennia, scholars dismissed it as allegory, a moral tale about hubris and decay. But recent geological discoveries are forcing a complete re-evaluation of that assumption. Around 11,600 years ago, exactly the time Plato gives for the fall of Atlantis, the world's oceans surged more than 120 meters, swallowing vast tracts of continental shelf. For decades, this was background knowledge. But new bathymetric scans and sediment studies off the coasts of Europe are revealing something extraordinary. Evidence of lost landscapes and even possible human structures now resting miles beneath the waves. I spent 400 hours analyzing marine geology papers, glacial melt reconstructions, and sonar surveys from the North Atlantic. What they reveal will challenge everything you've been taught about humanity's deep past. This is Underwater Atlantis, Azores and Doggerland evidence. I'm James from Forgotten Civilizations. Every episode represents weeks of research through academic journals, geological records, and primary sources. These aren't conspiracy theories, they're evidence-based investigations. If you value evidence-based history, subscribe now. New episodes every day at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before we dive in, comment below. Where in the world are you watching from? I want to know how far this evidence is reaching. Are you in the US, UK, Canada, Australia? Let me know in the comments right now. Let's start with what mainstream archaeology says. According to orthodox models, Europe's prehistory follows a clean trajectory. Paleolithic hunter-gatherers, then Mesolithic foragers, and finally Neolithic farmers spreading from the Near East. Civilization, in this view, begins around 5,000 years ago with Mesopotamia and Egypt. But there's a problem. Archaeologists admit vast areas of the continental shelf were dry land as recently as 12,000 years ago. Land that would have been habitable, resource-rich, and perfect for coastal settlements. Those areas are now underwater, largely unexplored and absent from our historical models. One of the most intriguing examples lies beneath the North Sea, a region once known as Doggerland. Before the seas rose, Doggerland connected Britain to mainland Europe. It wasn't a barren tundra. It was a fertile landscape of rivers, lakes, and forests, supporting reindeer, mammoth, and, most critically, people. In 1931, a North Sea fishing trawler dragged up something unexpected: a barbed bone harpoon. It came from a layer dated to around 10,000 BCE, proving that humans had lived and hunted where waves now roll. Since then, marine archaeologists have recovered hearthstones, mammoth bones, even traces of ancient peat bogs, hundreds of feet below the surface. Mainstream sources treat Doggerland as a Mesolithic hunting ground, but recent seismic surveys, used by oil and gas companies, paint a far richer picture. These scans reveal river valleys, hilltops, even possible lake settlements that mirror known human habitations from the same era. If Doggerland was a thriving human landscape that disappeared in a flood, doesn't that sound eerily familiar? But it gets stranger. Off the coast of Portugal, another anomaly hides in the deep: the Azores Plateau. If this evidence is new to you, hit the like button right now. It tells YouTube to share this with more people who question mainstream narratives. Seriously, pause and like this video. The Azores are a chain of volcanic islands roughly 900 miles west of Portugal, right on the mid-Atlantic ridge. For centuries, sailors have reported strange seamounts and shallows in the area. some even claiming to have seen submerged ruins through crystal clear water. Most of those accounts were dismissed as myth or misidentification. But in 2013, Portuguese mariners discovered what appeared to be a massive submerged pyramid off the island of Terceira. The sonar image showed an almost perfect pyramid rising from a depth of 40 meters. Its base measured roughly 100 meters on each side, about the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza. When the discovery went viral, Portuguese hydrographers quickly stepped in, claiming it was a natural volcanic hill. Case closed, at least officially. But the data remained incomplete. The survey was low resolution, and no detailed dive had been conducted. To this day, the Azores Pyramid hasn't been scientifically mapped at high fidelity. Yet, independent sonar operators have since reported rectilinear formations nearby, flat terraces, 90-degree angles, and what looked like roads or walls buried in silt. Could this be coincidence? Possibly. But it raises a deeper question. Why does the Azores region, precisely where ancient mariners once placed Atlantis, coincide with submerged geological anomalies dated to the end of the last ice age? Let's examine the evidence. The Azores Plateau isn't a simple volcanic chain. It's a massive, uplifted region of the Atlantic seafloor, rising several thousand meters above surrounding abyssal plains. During periods of lower sea level, significant portions of this plateau would have been exposed land. Oceanographers estimate that as recently as 12,000 years ago, during the Younger Dryas period, multiple high points of the plateau formed a continuous archipelago, potentially even a single large island complex. Now, combine that with the fact that the Younger Dryas ended with a catastrophic meltwater pulse. Sea levels rose abruptly, by some estimates, 20 meters in just a few centuries. If a culture had been living on those islands, their entire world could have vanished in a geological heartbeat. Pause and comment your answer. Do you think the Azores Plateau was ever inhabited? Comment 1 if you think yes, an Ice Age civilization lived there, or 2 if you think no, it's purely natural geology. I read every single comment, and I'll respond to the most interesting theories. Now let's return to Doggerland, because it provides a kind of control experiment and mainstream-approved proof that vast human territories were drowned. In 2012, the University of Birmingham released high-resolution maps of the North Sea seafloor using seismic reflection data. What they found was stunning. River systems, lake beds, and coastlines preserved beneath the silt. One valley system, the so-called Schotten River, was as large as the Thames. Archaeologist Vince Gaffney called Doggerland the real heart of Europe. His team even simulated vegetation zones, showing mixed forests and fertile plains supporting tens of thousands of people. Then, around 6,200 BCE, it all ended. A massive undersea landslide off the coast of Norway, the Storegga Slide, generated a tsunami estimated at 20 meters high. Combined with ongoing sea level rise, it permanently inundated Doggerland. The timing is crucial. 6,200 BCE is roughly 8,200 years before present, one of the largest climate events of the Holocene. It triggered abrupt cooling, mass displacement, and cultural change across Europe. In other words, the memory of a great flood would have been etched into collective memory. Now imagine this same scenario happening 4,000 years earlier in the mid-Atlantic, where the Azores Plateau stood higher, surrounded by rising seas and seismic instability. Could that event have seeded the legend Plato later recorded? Here's where the data gets even more interesting. In 2015, Portuguese geologists from the University of Lisbon analyzed sediment cores taken west of the Azores. They found thick layers of volcanic ash interbedded with fine marine sediments, evidence of massive, sudden landslides and possible subsidence events during the terminal Pleistocene. Some layers date between 12,000 and 11,000 years ago, the exact window Plato's timeline implies. If we take Plato literally, Atlantis destroyed in a single day and night of misfortune. Such catastrophic landslides combined with sea level rise could indeed obliterate an island society almost overnight. This doesn't prove Atlantis was real, but it does show that a mid-Atlantic island system did exist and was catastrophically altered around the same time. Here's what's fascinating. Genetic studies of prehistoric Europeans show mysterious influxes of DNA from unknown coastal populations just after the Younger Dryas. Ancient genomes from Iberia, Britain, and Scandinavia contain signatures that don't match known continental groups. Could displaced maritime peoples from the West, the survivors of a lost Atlantic land, have migrated eastward, bringing maritime knowledge and myths of a drowned homeland? Mainstream archaeology shrugs, saying those are unsampled populations. But absence of sampling isn't proof of absence. It means we haven't looked in the right places, like under the sea. This changes everything. But there's one piece of evidence we haven't discussed yet, and it's the most controversial. Before we go there, if you're not subscribed, you're missing new evidence every Thursday. Click subscribe right now. This research takes weeks, and you'll want to see what's coming. Let's examine the geological link between the Azores and Doggerland. On the surface, they seem unrelated. One in the North Sea, the other in the Atlantic Ocean. But both share three critical patterns. Both were low-lying continental shelves exposed during the last ice age. Both experienced rapid submergence between 11,600 and 6,000 BCE. Both preserve evidence of advanced human adaptation to coastal environments. This pattern repeats globally, from the Sunda Shelf in Southeast Asia to the Caribbean. Each case involves vast territories now drowned, yet once occupied by early humans. So why do we still cling to the idea that civilization suddenly appeared in Mesopotamia 5,000 years ago? Because most of our archaeological record is limited to dry land. 95% of Ice Age coastlines are now underwater, erased from view. Our story of civilization is literally missing the coastlines where early complex societies would have thrived. Here's what's even more intriguing. Sonar mapping of the North Sea reveals rectilinear patterns near the Doggerbank region, areas with strange geometric ridges. Most are likely glacial features, but a few display grid-like spacing inconsistent with natural formation. When researchers applied LiDAR modeling to simulate pre-inundation topography, some of those features aligned with what could have been riverfront settlements or engineered dikes. Again, this isn't proof, just patterns worth investigating. But consider this. The Netherlands' earliest Neolithic farmers built massive dikes and canals thousands of years later. Could those techniques have been inherited memories from drowned coastal ancestors? Wait until you see how this connects. Because while Europe lost Doggerland, the Atlantic may have lost something even greater. An island nexus that once linked continents. Let's connect a few dots. Ancient maps from before the Age of Discovery, like the Piri Reis map of 1513, show surprising accuracy in the Atlantic. Some depict islands that no longer exist. Antillia, High Brazil, even mysterious rectangular landmasses near the Azores. Medieval cartographers didn't invent these randomly. They drew from older maritime charts, some possibly originating in antiquity. High Brazil, for instance, was said to appear west of Ireland once every 7 years, an island of high civilization shrouded in mist. Sound familiar? Many researchers now suspect these tales preserve distorted memories of real lands submerged as sea levels stabilized. Meanwhile, Portuguese sailors of the 15th century reported shallows and seamounts where modern maps show deep ocean. Some, like the Great Meteor Seamount, are enormous flat-topped plateaus, ancient islands eroded by wave action before submerging. So the geology, the myths, and the archaeology all point in one direction. During the last ice age, the Atlantic held more land and possibly more people than we've ever acknowledged. By now, you can probably see why mainstream academia resists this narrative. To accept it means rewriting the foundation of prehistory. It means civilization didn't suddenly emerge from nowhere. It re-emerged from the survivors of an earlier global cataclysm. So what happened to that world? We saw that both Doggerland and the Azores share a geological signature, a sudden drowning at the end of the Ice Age, and the possibility that human societies once flourished there. Now, we're going deeper, because the evidence hidden beneath the waves could be the smoking gun that rewrites history. For decades, sonar surveys across the Atlantic have revealed anomalous formations, patterns that look too geometric, too intentional, to be explained away as random geology. Some of these come from near the Bacardi Seamount chain, others from the Great Meteor Plateau just south of the Azores. In 2015, a high-resolution sonar scan by the EMODNet bathymetric project showed what appeared to be rectilinear grid-like structures covering several kilometers of seabed between the Azores and Madeira. Internet forums went wild, calling it an underwater city. Google later clarified that the grids were digital artifacts from survey vessel paths. Case closed? Not quite. Because when independent researchers analyzed the same region using multi-beam bathymetry from different datasets, they found something intriguing. Certain linear features remained consistent across surveys. They weren't artifacts. They were real topographic formations, terraced ridges, rectangular plateaus, and what appeared to be cut channels. Mainstream geology explains these as volcanic faulting and erosional bedding plains. And that could well be true. But the scale, orientation, and occasional right angles are difficult to ignore. Let's be clear. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. We're not claiming these are Atlantean ruins. What we are saying is this. The Azores Plateau contains multiple geological features consistent with former exposure to air. Terraces shaped by wave erosion, sedimentary benches, and possible beach deposits, now 60 to 100 meters underwater. That means they were coastlines within human habitable range during the late Pleistocene. And if coastlines existed, so could settlements. Here's what's fascinating. Paleoceanographers studying core samples from the Azores region have found fossilized pollen grains from temperate flora, oak, alder, and birch. Species that don't thrive on modern volcanic peaks, but do in lowland continental environments. This suggests those plants once grew on broader, flatter landscapes that are now beneath the sea. In other words, parts of the Azores weren't always isolated volcanic islands. They were once larger, greener, and potentially home to Ice Age peoples. Now let's compare this to Doggerland's final moments, because it gives us a template for what may have happened. When the Storegga Slide tsunami hit around 6,200 BCE, it left debris fields stretching from Norway to Scotland. In the North Sea basin, sediment cores contain chaotic layers of sand and marine shells deposited hundreds of kilometers inland, proof of violent inundation. Beneath those layers lie the remains of ancient forests, perfectly preserved in anaerobic mud. Divers exploring the Brown Bank region, once Doggerland's highlands, have even recovered petrified wood stumps still rooted in place. Standing forests now lie 30 meters beneath the waves. Think about that. Human footprints once crossed that ground. Families camped by those rivers. When the waters rose, their world disappeared, not over millennia, but within generations. If that can happen in the shallow North Sea, imagine the scale of destruction from massive mid-Atlantic landslides and glacial melt pulses near the Azores. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Oceanographers from the National Institute of Oceanography in Lisbon found what they called massive sediment redistribution events along the Azores Plateau between 13,000 and 11,000 years ago. In plain English, colossal underwater landslides, possibly triggered by earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. Those events coincide precisely with meltwater pulse 1b, a period of accelerated sea level rise that raised the global ocean by up to 20 meters in just a few centuries. If we translate that into human terms, it means coastlines were retreating as fast as several meters per year. Imagine living in a world where every generation watched the ocean creeping closer, swallowing forests and villages. That kind of trauma would echo through myth for thousands of years. And indeed, it did. Flood stories appear in nearly every ancient culture, from Mesopotamia's Utnapishtim to the biblical Noah, from Hindu traditions of Manu to Greek legends of Deucalion. The details vary, but the theme is identical: a great deluge that destroyed a once advanced world. Could these myths be memories of real events, passed down orally from survivors of regions like Doggerland or the Azores Plateau? Let's test that hypothesis scientifically. In 2017, a team from Durham University examined global sea level data and found that catastrophic floods following the last ice age would have displaced millions across coastal Eurasia. They modeled migration routes and found that populations from flooded areas of the Atlantic shelf could indeed have migrated into Iberia and Western Europe, right where we later see mysterious cultural explosions, such as megalithic architecture. Notice the connection. Advanced stone building cultures appear abruptly around 4,000 to 5,000 BCE, long after the sea level rise, but with no clear developmental precursor. Sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, Karnak in France, and the Passage Tombs of Ireland show astonishing engineering skill. Did those traditions come from displaced peoples remembering lost homelands drowned by the sea? The timing fits perfectly. This is where it gets interesting. When Plato described Atlantis, he said it was larger than Libya and Asia combined, and located beyond the Pillars of Heracles, meaning west of the Strait of Gibraltar. He said its people were seafarers who ruled over islands in the opposite continent. He also claimed the civilization fell due to both earthquake and flood in a single day and night. Now let's compare those details line by line to geological data from the Azores. Location: west of Gibraltar, exact match. Large island complex. During the late Pleistocene, the Azores Plateau was indeed a contiguous archipelago, larger than modern Portugal. Rich in metals. The region sits atop massive mid-Atlantic hydrothermal deposits, rich in copper and orichalcum-like alloys. Destroyed by earthquake and flood, geological evidence of simultaneous volcanic collapse and rapid sea level rise fits this perfectly. Date: 9,600 BCE, within the Younger Dryas meltwater period. So when skeptics say Plato invented it, we have to ask, how could a philosopher from 2,400 years ago describe, in such specific terms, a geological event we've only recently confirmed through oceanography? Either it's the greatest coincidence in history, or he was preserving fragments of a much older oral tradition, one that originated from real cataclysmic events witnessed by ancient peoples. This changes everything. Because if that's true, then the memory of Atlantis isn't fantasy. It's prehistory. Here's what's even more compelling. In 2020, a study published in Quaternary Science Reviews analyzed deep sea cores west of the Iberian Peninsula. It found distinct layers of microtektites and shocked quartz, tiny glassy fragments formed by intense heat and pressure, possibly from an extraterrestrial impact or airburst. The layer dates to around 12,000 years ago, the same time as the mysterious Younger Dryas boundary event. If an impact or atmospheric explosion occurred over the North Atlantic, it could have triggered both the sudden cooling and the collapse of mid-Atlantic landmasses through tsunamis and seismic shock. That hypothesis aligns eerily with Plato's account of a sudden destruction in a single day and night. Before we continue, pause and comment your answer. Do you think the Younger Dryas impact could have destroyed an advanced Ice Age civilization? Comment 1 for yes, it fits the evidence, or 2 for no, it was purely a natural climate cycle. I read every single comment and respond to the best arguments. Now, skeptics will argue there's no direct proof of advanced technology before 9,000 BCE. And they're right, there isn't yet. But what we do have are anomalies that hint at complexity. Megaliths under Lake Titicaca, precise stone cutting at Göbekli Tepe, and undersea walls near Yonaguni in Japan, all dated to the same post-glacial transition. Even in Europe, submerged sites like Pavlopetri off Greece and Atlit Yam off Israel prove that coastal cities existed and were swallowed by rising seas. These are accepted by mainstream archaeology. So why not the Atlantic? Because unlike the Mediterranean, the mid-Atlantic depths are far more difficult and expensive to explore. Less than 10% of the Azores Plateau has been surveyed at high resolution. The rest remains a blue void on our maps, a blind spot in human history. Here's what I find most compelling. In 2018, Portuguese divers exploring near Pico Island discovered what appeared to be large, rectilinear stone blocks. Massive, flat slabs arranged in alignment. Initial videos circulated online, but no peer-reviewed analysis followed. The official explanation? Basalt fractures. Yet the symmetry of some blocks and the apparent alignment across dozens of meters still raise eyebrows. Skeptics dismiss it outright. But what if those formations represent Ice Age quarrying or wall construction later reshaped by lava flows? Without physical sampling, we'll never know. So, where does all this leave us? We have Doggerland, proven human land lost to the sea. We have the Azores Plateau, an uplifted, partially submerged landmass destroyed during the same period Plato described. We have myths from around the world describing identical events. And we have geological data proving catastrophic flooding 11,600 years ago. So, was there a lost civilization beneath the Atlantic? Based on the evidence, it's plausible, perhaps even probable, that advanced coastal societies existed before the end of the Ice Age. They may not have been Atlantean in the pop culture sense, but they were organized, maritime, and wiped out by the floods that reshaped our planet. Does this prove Atlantis beyond doubt? Number. But it does prove that the story of a great flood-destroyed civilization is rooted in real geological and archaeological events. The mainstream narrative says civilization began in the Fertile Crescent 5,000 years ago. The evidence says humanity's first complex societies might have thrived and drowned thousands of years earlier. I'll let you decide which is more credible. Before we close, think about this. Less than 1% of the seafloor has been explored archaeologically. That means 99% of potential human history remains buried beneath the ocean. Every time we map a new region, we find something unexpected. One day, maybe soon, a remotely operated vehicle will scan a terrace off the Azores and reveal unmistakable architecture, columns, walls, or inscriptions, finally ending the debate. Until then, we're piecing together a puzzle from fragments: Doggerland's drowned forests, Azores terraces, ancient flood myths, and genetic footprints that refuse to fit our tidy textbooks. Next time someone calls Atlantis a myth, remember this: myths survive because they carry truth. And truth, like land beneath the waves, waits patiently to be rediscovered. Next week, we're investigating the lost rivers beneath the Sahara. I've found satellite data showing entire ancient water systems under the desert. And it could prove that North Africa once hosted a forgotten civilization older than Egypt itself. Comment below. What's your theory on Atlantis? Was it Doggerland, the Azores, or somewhere else entirely?